Hello guys, it's the Matagebra back with another video. And in this one... Oh please. I will be addressing a debunk of 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 Bowser and Eggman's death battle. I think the user's name is Silver Shroom. I don't know, I just downloaded his video to respond to it. And I'm going to be addressing it. This might take a bit, but it should be a good video. Just be patient, bear with me here. This is very long. Well, not as long as my original video, but you get the idea. I'm going to run through some things, address the points that Silver Shroom makes, and hopefully it'll be good. Alright, let's begin.
Hello everybody, it's Silver Shroom, and today you're in for something completely different. So, Death Battle. It's a long-running and popular YouTube series. Its typical formula: take two characters and analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would most likely win in a fight to the death. In a standard episode, they'll have a segment focusing on each character, establishing their powers and abilities. This will be followed by a sequence, usually animated, depicting one way in which the fight could go down. This will be followed by a sequence in which they explain their reasoning for choosing the winner. This is all presented by two characters, Wizard and Boomstick. It's cool. I like it. So, on November 17th, 2024, Death Battle released Bowser vs. Eggman, matching up the main antagonists of the Mario and Sonic franchises respectively. This video will contain spoilers for that Death Battle, including the outcome, as well as spoilers for Death Battle's two Mario vs. Sonic episodes. This episode played with Death Battle's formula in a few ways. Not only were both accompanied by their armies and allies, but they were given access to pretty much any item they've ever had access to. Even those that, based on the events of their games, they probably shouldn't have access to ever again. The result was quite possibly my favorite Death Battle of all time, an amalgamation of so many things Mario and Sonic. Yeah, it was pretty epic. But not everyone felt that way.
You're goddamn right.
And what? So what? Something could have the most fabulous, most epic, most perfect animation. If people did not like the research or the claims, they can have that. The subject matter wasn't about Bowser vs. Eggman's animation by Moro. It wasn't. It was mainly about the research, although there was fumbles in the animation, like Infinite being taken out by a thwomp. Are you serious? Let's not act like there weren't blunders in the Death Battle. There were flaws. And people don't like the Death Battle because of those flaws. And these are valid opinions.
So, Death Battle determined Bowser would be the winner, and a lot of people very vocally disagreed with this. This is nothing new for Death Battle, but it's the first time I ever really dove deep into this kind of discourse, and what I found, well, I just couldn't keep quiet about it for much longer. So that's what I'm here to talk about. Strap in everybody, because this is gonna be a big one. But do not harass any of the creators mentioned in this video. Now, first and foremost, I need to address something, because I know that by making this video, I will have some people insisting that I'm just a stupid Mario fanboy, and nothing I say or do short of redacting this entire video, if even that, will ever convince them otherwise. Probably doesn't help that my channel icon is a recolored Mario mushroom.
Well, at least you're self-aware. I wouldn't let things like that stop you or me. I don't let that stop me at all. I I could have a Hulk profile pic, a Sonic profile pic, a Kamijo Toma profile pic. You know, just about anything, really. You don't let that stop you from making content. Because if you let something as shallow as that stop you, or keep you from talking, that is kind of a confession that there's a bit of truth to it. Like, I don't know why that would stop you. I mean, you're making this video now, but that's just such a strange thing to say. I wouldn't even have brought attention to it. It's really irrelevant. You could be biased. You could be a fanboy, a fangirl. You could be an absolute tard. But that doesn't mean you are exempt from speaking the truth. You can be all of those things and speak the truth. You know that, right? This is just a bunch of filler. I would have just started with the video already. Like, you can talk about your channel, what you do, and that type of thing, but yeah, the fanboy stuff, like, no. Now you're just bringing attention to it. It's unneeded. Anyway, let's continue.
Yeah, well, my channel name also references my favorite Sonic character. Albeit probably retroactively, my memory's a little hazy on that. Look, I'm just gonna make my testimony here. I love Mario. And I love Sonic. Shocking, I know, but spend enough time in this dumpster fire and you'd be forgiven for forgetting that it's possible to be a fan of both franchises. These two franchises have meant a lot to me growing up, and they will both always have a place on my proverbial shelf. Honestly, I couldn't imagine choosing one over the other, and in the spirit of keeping both franchises alive, I want Ohashi's dream to come true. I want Sonic to surpass Mario, especially given the current state of Nintendo. Regardless, no matter how many bad arguments I hear, the whole fandom wars aspect will always be my least favorite part of this discourse. Everywhere I look, it's Mario fans do this, Sonic fans do that, blah blah blah. It hurts. Maybe things would be different if they hadn't cancelled Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Stupid NFTs. So, just so we're all clear, if you clicked on this video hoping to get a laugh in and all those stupid, salty fanboys of that stupid blue rat, I don't like you.
Now, you're just coming off as pretentious. Keep in mind, you talked about Sonic fans coming in, having a laugh, and being salty, but you didn't do the same thing for Mario fans. You didn't say, oh hey, and the same goes for that fat plumber too. If you want to cause chaos and do all of that, I don't like you either. No, you didn't say that. You just talked about fans of the Blue Rat. Or, what you meant to say was Sonic the Hedgehog. We know what you meant. That's what everyone means. Like, come on. Be real. You're not that far in, and you're already showing your bias for Mario. Like, come on. You don't think that Sonic fans are the only ones who get salty and get laughs off of people, right? Come on.
I should also be fair regarding Death Battle itself, because while I like the series in general and think some of the hate they get is borderline nonsensical.
Nonsensical? Oh, now we're just lying now. Keep in mind, they had things like Sanji being Rock Lee, and what was it? I think it was Toph beating Gaara? Are you serious? Even in the cases that Death Battle got the cases right, like for the winner, the reasoning for the win is disconnected from reality. Basically, result right, reasoning wrong. You ever encountered that one kid who gets the questions right, but when asked to show their work, the work is like garbage? Like it doesn't, it's not connected, it doesn't logically follow? Yeah, that's basically what death battle is sometimes. And that is a valid concern for people to be talking about. Like, that, this is why death battle defenders are like, there's such a disdain for them. There's such a dislike. Because they'll say, oh, I think it's nonsensical the hate that they get. And you can't really explain why. You can't elaborate. Like, come on.
I'm no parasocial nut. I know Death Battle is not my friend. I've had my issues with several of their episodes myself. Zelda vs. Peach might be my least favorite of all time. What was that reasoning?
Yeah, so first you say that the hate for Death Battle is nonsensical, and then you brought up an example of why they get the hate. How is it nonsensical? How? How?
This video is not meant to be me defending Death Battle or even their verdict. I never cared who won this matchup.
Yeah, how do I say this without being too rude? That's not so true, because if you had no care, you wouldn't be making this video. But, continue.
And I still don't. And some of the arguments I've seen that Eggman should have won, I found fairly convincing, emphasis on some. So here are my own criticisms of Death Battle's Bowser vs. Eggman. First off is that Yoshi punting Raphael the Raven feat. I don't know, this just feels like too ambiguous of a situation. Yoshi didn't even attack him directly, and there's also the issue of whether this was just a Team Rocket blasting off again situation. Do I doubt that Yoshi, and by extension Bowser, is that strong? Not really.
Oh my god, he's one of those people. Okay, so I do want to talk about something, and you know, it's something that Mario fans don't even understand for some reason. But basically, if you're disagreeing with one of the main scans of characters being proven star level, and by the way, that's terrible evidence, very bad evidence, very, very, very bad evidence, then why are you arguing that Bowser would beat Eggman? Eggman has explicitly used tools that blatantly erased reality, erased universes, erased stars and planets. Like, are we serious? Eggman has done so much things that will put Bowser to shame. For one, Bowser's main gimmick is like dying to lava and pitfalls. Say what you want about Eggman, but that's not consistent for him at all. In fact, these things being weaknesses to him would happen in the case that he has no machines to pilot. But other than that, the idea that he could lose to that is, come on. Like in normal form, I could see him dying to lava, but not with any machines. Just saying. Eggman vastly outscales Bowser. It's not even close. you have to use crossover scaling from the Olympic Games to get Bowser and Mario to Sonic's level. Pick your hardest statement for Mario. Pick your hardest feat for Mario. It doesn't compare to Sonic the Hedgehog. It doesn't. And you could argue Mario as Platonism, even though Platonic ideas aren't really scaling material, but I'll just steel man it or something. Mario has no feat of affecting something like that at all. He has no feat whatsoever of affecting Platonic realms or reality itself. And he would blatantly die to universe destruction if we're talking about Super Paper Mario or Mario Galaxy, where he had to escape or was saved by someone else, like Rosalina. Just saying. You have to jump through so many hurdles, hoops, and trials just to get Mario to the baseline of Sonic the Hedgehog scaling. And, like, come on, be real. Mario scaling is honestly a bunch of gaslight, wank, and dishonesty. To Mario fans' credit, I don't see them creating fake scans, at least not on the same level as Sonic fans and Dragon Ball fans, or One Piece fans. But the misinterpretations that I see from different events, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You have to jump through so... Okay, so there's the Dreamy Bowser thing, where basically they'll say that Dreamy Bowser is multiversal because the Dreamstone wields the power of dreams, and dreams exist infinitely throughout space or something, and I'm like, are you serious? Why can't you get a feat of Bowser creating infinite dreams that are universes, destroying infinite dreams that are universes, or anything like that? You can't get that. You will never get that. And I hardly see Mario fans go the chain scaling route for multiversal and up, or even universe level. And it's not because Mario fans have some secret higher level of scaling and sauce that they abide by. No. It's because it doesn't exist for Mario. You literally cannot get that for Mario. Chain scaling, in basic summary, is basically because one guy beat this guy who did that thing, which required this amount of thing to do. The guy who beat that guy who did the thing is as strong as that, or even stronger than that, or at least comparable to that. So basically, think about it this way. How do I say it? Super Saiyan God Goku is universe level because he could clash with Beerus, which causes so much energy that starts destabilizing the universe and threatens to destroy it. So, we got that Goku and Beerus is universe level, right? Well, what happens next? Later on in the Tournament of Power Saga, Krillin and Gohan end up sparring with Super Saiyan Blue Goku, who's stronger than the Goku, aka Super Saiyan God Goku, who threatened to destroy the universe. So, through chain scaling, the logic is that Krillin and Gohan would also be universe level. I think it's reasonable, but there are obviously outliers where this doesn't work, like if it's an A versus B versus C versus D versus E thing. Because by that logic, humans have more destructive power than a nuke, because roaches can survive nukes but can't survive being stomped the heck out by a human most of the time. So there's something you gotta consider there, but you get the idea. Chain scaling for a verse like Mario is so hard to do. You can't do the chain scaling with Dreamy Bowser without making logical leaps. But you know what? You can get something like that in Sonic Shuffle with Void. Like, pick your hardest Mario feat and the hardest argument for it. Sonic likely has it much easier. Point blank.
They probably could have chosen a much better feat, though. They also just seem to kind of take Bowser's word for it on the Wonder Flower being able to alter the universe and the Dreamstone being able to wish something out of existence. Though trust me, this is nothing compared to what I'll be addressing later. They also oversimplified the Dreamstone as a whole. I mean, it needs to be charged by collecting dream energy from sleeping people, though this is certainly no less a handicap than Lightman has.
Not really a handicap. It's just a precaution that Eggman took, so not only would he conquer worlds that previously failed him, or he failed to conquer or change or whatever, but also to change the memories of everyone when he gains control of them. This is pretty much spelled out. That's why he used the egg field. Not really a handicap. He doesn't exactly need to do all of that.
And also, Peach and Starler demonstrate that wishes can be interrupted. A relatively minor thing is their lack of emphasis on the Pure Hearts, considering they were able to stave off omniversal destruction.
Not omniversal. Not omniversal. And next, something that Mario fans ignore is that the Pure Hearts were just nullifying and shutting down the Chaos Heart. That's what it was doing. That's what it was doing. And I don't know why people think that this would make Bowser multiversal. Actually, let's go back to the omniversal thing. Where is the proof that it was an omniversal threat? I mean, like, where did you get omniversal from? It just says it'll affect all dimensions, but you need to keep in mind that this is in context of Mario's worlds. Where's the evidence that it affects all of creation across every fictional series? Or at least get something that says it affects the Omniverse. Like, there's... Like, where are you getting this from? Where are you getting this from? It didn't stave off some omniversal thing. There's no evidence for that. And this is what I meant when I said that even if Mario fans didn't create fake scans for their series, they have such gross misinterpretations of their games that it is basically no different. Not a single multiverse or anything is mentioned in that Mario game. Just different dimensions. And while that does indicate a multiverse, where are you getting omniverse from? An omniverse is more vast than a multiverse. I mean, I know this happened later than the Death Battle, but the DC X Sonic crossover had the Chaos Emeralds as a threat to all of creation. And not only that, but a single Chaos Emerald could resist powers like the Speed Force, which comes after the time of Dark Crisis and Infinite Frontier and etc. and Death Metal and stuff, where basically the Speed Force is confirmed an omniversal force. A single Chaos Emerald could fend that thing off. Think about that for a second. Just think about that for a second. You don't see Mario handling stuff like this. No. It never happened. Because Mario is not meant or nor portrayed or implicated to be on that level. The only way you're getting Mario over is by using cross-scaling with Sonic. But since OKKO basically confirms that Sonic beat Mario in the Olympic Games, that would be counterintuitive to point out, because it would mean that the Sonic characters canonically get over the Mario characters anyway. Just saying it how it is. Sonic gets over. Mario gets under. It's simple as that. And I know that people will try bringing up that, the Sonic X DC is a crossover, it's not canon. Well, one, Ian Flynn didn't say it wasn't canon, he said it was self-contained. Two, it should be said that Ian Flynn did confirm that the versions they were based on, that were templated from, were the standard versions. So what's done in that crossover should be applicable to the main line, since Sega DC supervised it so that they were in line with their vision. Just saying.
You'd think they would probably be Bowser's most powerful MacGuffins, but they're relegated to just side notes, and instead they kinda glazed the power in Grand Stars. Though granted, Power Stars are definitely far more iconic, whereas the Pure Hearts have been in literally one game.
And that's exactly another problem with Death Battle. They will, outright ignore, put down, or just blatantly gloss over something that would be helpful to the character they want to win side, but they don't mention it. Basically, even if they were right, the way they explain it is wrong. And that is a valid complaint to make. Just saying.
On the Eggman side, there's them using the laser of a mass-produced Death Egg robot from Forces, rather than the Death Egg robot, though I'm wondering if the mass-produced version would actually be weaker. Using Solaris' Omniversal Destruction as a speed feat also just felt kind of odd to me.
I'm not sure if Solaris is omniversal, but there's definitely a better case for it than the Chaos Heart, because it's blatantly stated in guides and sources that if Sonic didn't stop Solaris, he would have ended everything. Done. Over. That's it. It's very blatant. It's very blatant. And I don't understand why you wouldn't count it as a speed feat. Like, Solaris was traversing different timelines in different states of time. Super Sonic, Super Shadow, Super Silver, and even the base cast, they're perceiving that. How else, like, are we supposed to ignore that? Are we really supposed to ignore that speed feat? We're talking about time-ending levels of speed. You can't ignore something like that.
The animation is probably the only basically universally praised thing about this episode.
The animation itself, that's praised. Now, what happens in that animation, not universally praised at all. Nope. Like, you had Infinite being taken out by a swamp. You had Super Neo Metal Sonic lose to Bowser, even though Death Battle said that the Chaos Emeralds and their power outscales Bowser's toolkits? Nah. They knew Metal Sonic would solo the entire thing, but they still had Bowser and etc. beat him. Sorry, but no. That doesn't fly.
Credit to Morrow. The one common source of contention is Fury Bowser, because in the one game the form appeared in, it depicted Bowser as being basically unable to control himself, consumed by rage, and attacking everything around him, even his own son. However, nothing we see Fury Bowser do in this death battle couldn't feasibly be done by just giant Bowser.
Nope. Bowser is not beating Metal Sonic or any of Eggman's high leakers. I also found it funny they left out Zavok, who would have rendered most of Bowser's toolkits, like the ships and stuff, invalid.
So them using Fury Bowser probably just comes down to it looking cooler and being from a more recent game. Then there's the assertion that because the Koopa Troop resisted Fafl's mind control, they could resist Eggman's similar tech. A big counter-argument is Super Paper Mario, where the Koopa Troop was fairly easily brainwashed by Anastasia into completely serving Count Black. Thematically, Eggman is, of course, way more similar to Fafl than Anastasia.
You could also bring up the fact that Eggman's tech works on people who could resist the Ifrit's mind control. A literal god couldn't mind control these characters, just saying. Or they could be knocked out of it if they were. Like, be real. Sonic toolset that Eggman has just completely takes out Bowser's.
Honestly, this whole thing is kind of a toss-up. Although, at least as far as I've seen, Eggman hasn't used a whole lot of mind control to a particularly potent degree, so I figured this isn't a particularly reliable win con for him regardless.
Except the Phantom Ruby enabling Eggman's Lightman form can manifest different possibilities and dreams where Eggman wins. One of them being where he took control of the whiffs and mind control things all around the world. This is explicitly stated in the Isekai Ogiri here. Anything that Eggman needs in this fight, while in Lightman form, can be generated by him and Bowser has no counter to it. He cannot do anything about it. Bowser was effed. He should have been stomped out in this fight. Shouldn't have been any trouble for Eggman. Really. Especially once he got into Lightman Eggman, which is comparable to Supersonic in power. Blatantly stated. You can make all the arguments you want about Mario versus Sonic. Once you get into super forms, the Mario cast gets left in the dust. The super forms are too overpowered for the Marioverse. Don't know how I could say this in any other way. They get ass raped.
Their point about Eggman barely managing working with himself in Sonic Generations was a bit odd. I mean, at worst, they just kind of argued. In Mario & Luigi Paper Jam, Bowser working with himself went way worse. Don't get me wrong, I think their point still stands. Bowser is way better at working with others.
This is such a terrible case to make. Think about it. Death Battle's rule is that everyone is fighting at their best to see who would win a death battle. But they intentionally nerf Eggman's army by saying he can't work with them, so their performance is reduced. Next, there's another issue. Eggman doesn't necessarily need to work with anyone. He makes his army. He makes the robots. He has made it so Metal Sonic follows him. This is something in the material and in the comics. I'm not sure if they were using IDW. Based on the scans they use, I think they were using IDW. But regardless, Eggman's army at their best should be following him. They hardly ever disobey him. You have a few outliers like Metal Sonic or Zavok, who technically isn't part of Eggman's army, but he has been in Eggman's army before, or on Eggman's side. Regardless, I don't even understand why they didn't even put Zavok in this matchup. And Infinite hasn't really had problems with Eggman. It's just that more so Infinite did his own thing. But he got things done. It was in line with what Eggman wanted. No one could have foresaw Sonic doing what he did in Sonic Forces. I'm gonna be honest. No one could have foresaw that. And that's the way it is. Eggman not being able to work with his comrades or allies, they're major outliers. They're major outliers. I don't even understand what was the point of saying that, because Bowser has had more instances of not being able to work with people than Eggman. And his army is loyal to him, but go to anyone else that's on his side, or he has outliers too, but I don't see them mentioning that. It's clear who Death Battle wanted to win, and they were going to make that person win, even at the expense of misinforming people.
But that was just an odd thing to bring up.
Even with Sage's millions of plans to take down the Titans, she thought them to be unbeatable, which Sonic proved was incorrect.
Okay, yeah, this is a big one. Sage's 0% chance of victory comment was made when she hadn't run any simulations with Sonic helping because Eggman wouldn't allow it. Now, to be fair, I don't think she ever explicitly said that they had a chance with Sonic helping, so I don't know. I mean, Sonic's the hero. He was gonna win either way. I also want to briefly talk about the Mario vs. Sonic death battle. And I mean the second one, the one from 2018, because they actually did one back in 2011 where Sonic won. But in the rematch, Mario won, and it garnered a similar reaction to Bowser vs. Eggman. I'm not gonna be addressing many criticisms of that death battle because honestly, I didn't really like it either. I don't know, a lot of the analysis just felt really off. I'm going to cut them a bit of slack because that seemed to be sort of a soft reboot for Death Battle. Their standards for research and feats seem to be getting a bit of an overhaul. But then there's the animation, and yeah, they did Sonic pretty dirty. Also, they're kind of just jerks for no reason. Granted, it's probably hard to write a coherent narrative where these two would willingly fight to the death. This rivalry has always been forced due to meta stuff. I maintain there is no canon reason why these two wouldn't get along. Okay, well that's just... Now, before we get into the actual responses, I want to share some personal pet peeves I've come to have with power scaling as a whole. Keep them in mind because they'll provide some much needed context for many of my thoughts down the road. Though, given how often I see arguments like these, they might just get me blacklisted from the power scaling community entirely. Here to help me illustrate these points is who appears to be the Sonic franchise's power scaling golden boy, Solaris. Spoilers for Sonic 06, but if you really care about that, you'll probably just end up skipping this whole section. So, Solaris is the main antagonist of the 2006 game Sonic the Hedgehog, who threatened to consume all existing timelines and dimensions until Sonic, Shadow, and Silver turned into their super forms and defeated it. So yeah, needless to say, Solaris is very powerful, but I think there are some nuances that I'm going to be bringing up here. The first thing I want to address is the apparent assumption that characters exhibit or have access to their maximum potential power in all contexts. Solaris' formation was accompanied by a wave of destruction that triggered the gradual consumption of all existing timelines, dimensions, and universes. So we'll call this feat omniversal. I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate. I'm still trying to get into all these power scaling terms, but for the sake of argument, we'll call that an omniversal feat. So, Supersonic being able to take Solaris' attacks, that makes him omniversal, right? Well, Solaris' attacks consist of lasers and firing projectiles. Are we to assume that every one of these lasers and projectiles is omniversal in power?
Yes we are. Yes we are. Cause in guides and in encyclopedias, it's explicitly stated very clearly that those attacks are world-ending. Especially the lasers. And keep in mind, it's not like that tower that erased the universes and timelines and dimensions didn't come from Solaris himself. They came from Solaris himself once using the Chaos Emerald. And it's not like Solaris isn't giving his all trying to kill Sonic, Shadow, and Silver. So I don't even know what point you are trying to make here. Yes, Sonic, Shadow, and Silver scale to Solaris. I thought that was a given. But apparently not.
I don't really see why we should. You'd think a laser would be more efficient in destruction than this gradual consumption.
You're making this harder than it needs to be. You're overcomplicating things. What happened was that Solaris decided to gradually consume things rather than use his lasers. That's it. Like, you won't see multiverse-ending threats always shoot lasers instead of gradually consuming. Such things has happened with Chaos King, Oblivion, First Firmament. They can do these things, but they don't have to be that strong. Or for their offensive attacks to be that strong. I don't even understand what what kind of point this is supposed to be. What point are you trying to make here? I just want to understand, because I'm not getting it.
People seem to love using some niche situational feat to vaguely label a character as exaversal without bothering to go into if or how this translates into an actual fighting scenario.
Well, this is a very interesting argument, because if we used that kind of logic, no Dragon Ball character is even remotely planetary. Think about it. Frieza destroys a large planet with a large energy bullet from his fingers. Then when he fights much stronger characters than the form he was in when he first destroyed the planet, he doesn't destroy the environment around him to anywhere near the same degree. Like, I mean, if we went by this logic, not a lot of characters would get to even solar system. Like, Cell is like a threat to the universe in the manga. He could destroy the solar system, but we don't actually see him do it with his fists or anything like that. You'll see him do it with a ki blast. I definitely think that there are cases where this is valid. For example, the Chaos Heart from Super Paper Mario is very well in what you're talking about. All Dimentio and Black does is just summon a giant black hole that just kind of consumes everything. They never use it in battle at all. There's not even an implication in the story that they can do it without using that black hole, which Stellaris does have that. So again, I see what you're talking about, but like, it doesn't apply to Sonic at all.
How does Infinite being able to produce an infinite space of nothing translate to his attacks essentially being powerful enough to destroy a universe? I don't get that.
Let's think about it this way. Let's say someone can create an infinite space, and they use it using a power that they're using, and it's a direct result of them using that power, not just the item itself. You know, like the Chaos Heart. You would have to wonder if the character who created this infinite space can withstand doing such a thing. How strong would someone else have to be to overwhelm them to the point where creating an infinite space is nothing compared to it? There's a lot of times where the chain scaling thing doesn't necessarily work, but you can't ignore someone generating more energy than an infinite space to harm someone, because infinity is infinity. That is beyond any finite limit that you can think of. This really shouldn't have to be said. Like, it'd be different if there was no narrative about Infinite's power, or it wasn't stated by Sega, but this type of thing was addressed multiple times. It was addressed multiple times. You guys are just ignoring it. I mean, Sonic Speed Simulator even had a clone of Infinite taking on Super Shadow. Like, you guys do this to yourselves. Stop questioning the story. Stop questioning the author's intent. This is why people think that Buhan is stronger than Kid Buu. Like, no, they explicitly tell you the absorptions are weaker than Kid Buu. Anyway, that's getting off topic. Let's continue.
Now, I can be flexible on this. If a character takes a punch from someone who's also shown to be able to destroy a planet with a punch, or even like a kick or a headbutt, then yeah, I see it as reasonable to put that character as planetary plus in durability, even if technically we don't know how much effort was put into each punch.
That's a very slippery slope. Sonic is unaffected by that, and not only that, but how do I say it? You're overcomplicating things again. Like, I don't think the author is really thinking about characters constantly putting this amount of power or that amount of power each time they fight. They're really not thinking about that. Like, you could just chalk it up to plot. It's literally just the plot. Not every series is gonna have these characters destroy everything, even though they can. That's just the way it is.
But if the puncher instead had to use their laser eyes to destroy a planet, those are two completely different contexts.
How? You're just assuming that they only have one means of doing that. You don't really have proof to suggest that. That's a problem. That's a slippery slope that you're going on.
So yeah, Supersonic being able to take Solaris' attacks, not sure about using that to put him at omniversal in durability.
Yeah, here's the problem. By your logic, each time that a character doesn't destroy a planet with a punch, even though they destroyed it with a punch before, the character that beat them in a fight doesn't scale to them. Doesn't scale to that planetary destroying power. That doesn't even make any sense. That just seems like a cop-out to keep Sonic from getting over. With by your logic, a lot of Dragon Ball characters and a lot of, especially Mario gets under. What the heck?
And speaking of durability, my next point is equating a character's durability to their maximum potential power. Are we to believe that the power needed to damage Solaris is the same as the power it uses to consume all of reality?
Yes. Yes, you are. Are you serious? I have to go back to the infinite point. Think about it. Solaris can consume timelines, dimensions, universes, and all of reality, all of creation, whatever. And you mean to tell me that no comparable force is needed to harm Solaris? If he couldn't handle that level of power, Solaris would pop like a zit. Point blank. That's it. Like, I don't understand the point you're trying to make. Like, out of all the examples you could use, Solaris is not one of them. You have to scale to what he can destroy to harm him.
Again, I don't see why we should.
And I don't see why we shouldn't. Next!
I suppose the big caveat regarding Solaris is that it's stated to exist in the past, present, and future all at once, though I defy anyone to explain what that means in terms of the physical force needed to damage it.
Now, if they just use that scan, shame on them. That does not that does not indicate the amount of force needed to harm Solaris. But you know what does? The fact that Eggman says that Solaris eats dimensions for lunch, and Eggman blatantly says that standard attacks cannot harm him. And think about it this way. We can eat chicken, we can eat beef, we can eat pork, we can eat chocolate, we can eat a lot of things. Can we eat magma? Can we eat lava? Can we eat stars? No. The body is equipped to handle certain things. Whatever you can consume, you can handle taking. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it. Get proof that Solaris doesn't need a similar level of energy to be taken out. Pretty simple. By your logic, Dragon Ball characters don't even get over. It's ridiculous. And I shouldn't even have to prove this. This is your burden, not ours.
So yeah, Supersonic being able to damage and defeat Solaris, not keen on calling that an omniversal feat either.
What? What? Could you imagine? Nah. To put into perspective how ridiculous that argument is, or that claim, whatever it is, imagine telling a Marvel or DC fan that the Darkest Knight doesn't have multiversal durability, even though his power dwarfs entire multiverses. I don't. Oh my. Yo, all I'm saying is, this would not fly in Marvel versus DC versus whatever discussions. This would not. There is a blatant double standard when it comes to Sonic scaling. People make claims like this that would not fly in any other verse. I'm just saying. It's ridiculous. Let's continue.
I suppose this all culminates in my last point. A character winning a fight does not make them stronger or even as strong as their opponent.
Yeah, despite the fact that Solaris was consuming all of creation, Sonic and Shadow in their super forms were not taking Solaris seriously. That says all you need to know. Not only that, but the guides make it pretty clear that Sonic alone could banish Solaris. The reason why 3 of them ganged him were really due to stakes at the time.
Yeah, this is a line of reasoning I've never been able to get behind.
The reasoning you're giving is something that I can't get behind because it fails under basic scrutiny. I just don't understand this logic.
There are plenty of ways to win a fight without being able to match or surpass your opponent in any physical stats.
It just so happens that Sonic beat his through direct stat comparisons. Yep. Don't see the point of mentioning this.
Like using the environment to your advantage, or tricking them into basically defeating themselves, or exploiting a certain weakness, like, say, a core that controls their consciousness after conceding you can't stop their physical form.
My god, you're taking it way too literally. Are we going to actually suggest that destroying his core is not a power feat? Keep in mind, his core could sustain more damage than his armor, which was specifically made to protect him. That was effortlessly destroyed by Sonic, Shadow, and Silver. This logic is just trash. Oh my god, man. And I know there's the scan that I posted saying that it's a weak spot. Well, for one, the scan mentions that the core is covered by his armor or breastplate. How do you think they got to the core? They destroyed it. They had to harm Solaris. They had to beat the crap out of him to reveal it. And Sonic, Shadow, and Silver don't say they can't stop his form. Where are you getting that from? It's a knowledge claim statement from Eggman, who can't actually prove that. And even if he's right, you need to prove that the core is substantially weaker than his regular conventional durability, which, as we know, Sonic, Shadow, and Silver could destroy, as seen in the game and in the guides. You need to quantify how much weaker the core is from Solaris himself. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to even mention it. Yeah.
The devil's in the details. If two characters' brute force attacks collide and neither immediately backs down, or they maintain a beam struggle, then yeah, I'd put them as equals in those respective departments.
Sonic, Shadow, and Silver literally take hits from Solaris. What are you talking about? You're using logic that directly applies to Sonic, Shadow, and Silver.
But how often are fights in Mario or Sonic games ever that direct? I mean, they are primarily platformers. Mario can jump on Bowser's head, activate traps, and sneak around to grab his tail until the Moo-Moos come home. But no way in heck is he beating Bowser in an arm wrestle.
This logic doesn't even work for Mario, because Mario is straight up grabbing his tail and swinging his entire body weight to the other platforms. Like, they're obviously relative in strength, even if low end. I don't understand what point is being made here. This is flawed logic for Mario and Sonic. I'm just gonna say it right now. Also, arm wrestles don't really determine who wins a fight. This is like Beerus losing to Belmont and Quintella in an arm wrestle, but then he's shown beating their asses in the Tournament of Power. Like, come on.
Likewise, I've seen people try to refute Death Battle's claim that Bowser's stronger than Yoshi by pointing to all the times Yoshi's defeated Bowser, even though Yoshi fights a lot like Mario and is very reliant on projectiles.
Excuse me? Are you trying to say because someone is stronger, you cannot be relative to them to beat them in a fight? I'm not understanding this argument here.
Yeah, no way is Yoshi stronger than Bowser. As for Sonic, his main thing is speed after all, so naturally the vast majority of his fights are him outmaneuvering, waiting for openings, and looking for weak points for his magical homing attack reticle to lock onto. Yeah, I'd argue in terms of physical stats, Sonic doesn't necessarily come close to a lot of the foes he's taken down.
Are we really going to make the case that Sonic has no strength comparable to his speed, and that all of his foes were taken down by weak spots, in which the weak spots are so far weaker than the person that Sonic takes down, that He doesn't scale to them. Are we actually going to? I don't understand this guy. For one, moving at a certain speed would mean your energy increases. Now, the more energy you have, the higher your strength. And Knuckles is as strong as Sonic is fast, and Sonic can beat Knuckles, which means his strength should be relative to his speed. So, where are you going with this? This is flawed logic. This doesn't even apply to Sonic if it were true. And yes, Albert Einstein's equations and maths exist in Sonic. It's been shown a few times. It's been referenced in the Sonic Twitter accounts memes. It's been in the Tails tube, so yeah.
Supersonic, at least in 06, is only at least durable enough to take Solaris's lasers and projectiles.
No. You are leaving so much context. It cannot be ignored. Again, the encyclopedia says that Solaris's lasers are world-ending. Solaris casually erased Sonic's reality and multiple time frames out of existence. And Solaris puts effort into those lasers when trying to kill Sonic, Shadow, and Silver. Standard attacks cannot harm Solaris. Where are you getting this idea that Supersonic doesn't scale to Solaris? Doesn't even make any sense. This is in addition to the fact that Sonic and Shadow don't take Solaris seriously, despite what's at stake here.
And strong enough to break its armor and beat on its core until it passes out. None of which we really have much to go off of in terms of numbers.
You're just blatantly ignoring that they destroyed his armor and all his defenses to get to that core, didn't you? Like, do I need to show you what Solaris looks like before and after all the armor's broken? Because the difference is like night and day. Like, the top half of his body and some parts of the bottom are just mangled, battered, and broken. I don't understand the people with the arguments that Sonic doesn't scale to Solaris. It's frankly BS.
One more thing before we get to the videos, because there are certain arguments that you'll see all across the world of Sonic power scaling. Viewers, let me introduce you to the wonderful world of statements. First, I should establish the concept of power creep, the phenomenon where a franchise continuously introduces elements that are more powerful than the ones that came before it. This is justified as applying to Sonic through not only the statements I'm about to bring up, but just lines pushing the general sentiment of Sonic getting stronger through every adventure, like that's not just a basic fact of life. Don't get me wrong, there is plenty of evidence that Sonic has been getting significantly stronger. Off the top of my head, him being able to defeat Perfect Chaos while in base form in Generations when he had to go super back in Adventure. However, as we'll see, it often gets taken way too literally, with people treating every single obstacle Sonic faces as objectively stronger than anything that came before it, regardless of, well, anything.
Be for real right now. Shadow and Base in Sonic X Shadow Generations literally clapped up Metal Overlord, who took on 3 super forms. I want to hear it wasn't a super form. The script and the guides confirm it. And next, I also want to make it clear that in addition to fighting the 3 super forms, it was stated that Metal Overlord could not be harmed unless using a Team Blast, which is their strongest attack. And it's verifiable, because if you play that moment of the game, Sonic Heroes, you literally can't do anything to Metal Overlord unless you do that. Crazy. Rather than admit Sonic gets over, you have these mental gymnastics. It's nuts.
This image has become particularly infamous, originating as a piece of promotional material for Sonic Forces. It introduces Sonic's most powerful enemy yet, Infinite. This is often cited to reason that Infinite, and by extension, base form Sonic from Forces onward, is stronger than Solaris. You know, the sun god that threatened to erase all of reality. This has raised a discussion about the use of promotional material, which frankly I'm kinda on the fence about. Don't get me wrong, there's a point to be made here. Statements from outside the media themselves have never been off limits, but there's some nuance to be had.
No, there's no nuance to be had. That came from the official Sega website. Cope, sieve, mold. It's canon information. That's it. Infinite was Sonic's most powerful foe up to that point, until the Mega Death Egg robot came along. And then later events which power creep that. There's nothing else to be done here. That's it. And just to break the ice, I want to show you that the Infinite statement is from the Sega website. Hold on, let me get it. In 3, 2, 1, go. See? See this? See this? See this? See SonicTheHedgehog.com over here? See it? See this? See this? Battle an all-star lineup of foes including Dr. Eggman, Zavok, Metal Sonic, and Chaos, leading up to a fight against Sonic's most powerful enemy yet, Infinite. Hold on. Sega. This is linked from Sega's website. See? See? Even up to now, it's still there. It's still there. This wasn't some random magazine or guidebook or something. This is for Sega themselves. Why you guys do this to yourselves? Like, anytime I see someone saying that Infinite can't be stronger than Solaris or something, because he was beaten by Base Sonic. I then asked the question, do you think Super Sonic from Sonic 3 and Knuckles could beat Metal Overlord from Sonic Heroes? It's a simple question. If they say yes, they are a dumbass. A complete, total, utter dumbass. Now, if they say that he can't beat Metal Overlord, then it's possible that since the base Sonic characters can beat Metal Overlord as of Sonic Generations, that the base cast can power creep over their super form selves. And even to the point that Metal Overlord from Sonic Heroes, someone who could fight 3 super forms without taking damage unless hit with an all-out assault attack, is like left in the dust. Just like, but for some reason they don't want to apply this to Infinite the Jackal. And Sega like released Sonic Speed Simulator, which had a clone of Infinite, a Phantom Ruby clone, Stalemate Super Shadow. So, unless you think that Super Shadow loses to base Sonic, I think you should just admit that Infinite gets over and you were wrong. Because either... And here's the thing. I think that Shadow is a freaking fraud in the Sonic the Hedgehog inverse of power scaling. Like, I think he's a fraud. I don't think that he's Sonic's equal. That's just hype man stuff they put so people will still glaze him. Because he's like the second most popular Sonic character out there. Some would even debate he's the first. And like, there's just so many things in the games that kind of just shows that Shadow isn't on Sonic's scale when in base. Like, it's just the way it is. Anyway, I showed you this. I showed you this. Oh, come on. Yeah, this is enough. I showed you guys this, and it's pretty blatant. It's from Sega themselves. This is pretty clear. Like, you guys need to stop this shit. And I'd like to add one more thing, right? There are a lot of statements in Sonic Forces that show that Infinite was Eggman's strongest weapon. There are. Let me show some.
Sonic, how I hate him. And all of that loathing has been focused into this invincible instrument of destruction. Every defeat, every humiliation at the Hedgehog's hands will be returned 1,000-fold by my unstoppable creation. This is my dream come true. With this invention, I can expand the Eggman Empire across the globe and conquer the world!
The boss means business this time.
Okay, so First, I want to explain the first cutscene. The first cutscene, it's pretty obvious, but the Solaris Tards, the Sonic Down players, they'll all deny it, right? Eggman is putting Infinite the Jackal above all his previous attempts at beating Sonic. This includes the Egg Wizard, the Egg Salamander, the Time Eater, and we know this because he specifically says every defeat at the hands of Sonic will be returned a multiple fold. Pretty clear. I believe I even had a Q&A with Taro Toyota. Like, I asked him a singular question about it, and he said, yeah, he used Infinite as his ultimate weapon, their strongest weapon or most powerful weapon, something like that. And it was obvious, but Solaris Tards, Sonic Down players, they'll still deny it after that. But trust me, when Sega comes up with that, Shadow, you are Sonic's equal pack, they're gonna slurp that up. They're gonna slurp that up. Trust me. Okay, let's continue. Oh my god.
Full robot is no more.
Okay. This right here. I want you to pay close attention to it.
The world's most powerful robot is no more a challenge than crab meat. As I suspected, this power is without peer. It is the ultimate strength. And still more wonderful, a not-so-tall, dark, and brooding guest has arrived. I've been waiting for you, Shadow. Tell me what you did to Omega. Weaklings like him are of no consequence. Come now, Shadow. A long-awaited reunion, and still you spout such nonsense. I don't know you. And the only thing of no consequence around here is that big mouth of yours. Oh, I suppose you would think so. Oh, yes. I am Infinite. You say you do not know me, and yet I remember you so very well. To you, it was simply another in a long list of Eggman bases you tore down without a second thought.
Okay. This cutscene is, and this is a litmus test for people who can actually analyze the story. So, Taro Toyota and the writers Ken Pontac and Warren Graff, they are trying to convey a message. Now, you could say that, well, he's using Omega as a scale. That doesn't really matter. They're trying to convey that Infinite is a threat like no other before. They had him beat Omega, who in previous games was a threat to the likes of Sonic and Shadow. Like in Shadow the Hedgehog, it's implied that Omega could go toe-to-toe with Sonic and potentially beat him. And in Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, Omega is the one who beats Shadow in the original timeline that leads to Silver's future. Now, they're making it clear, and it's explicitly stated, that Infinite's power with the Ruby is unmatched. It is the ultimate strength. Pretty clear. And I don't even know how you would combat this. Like, you think he doesn't know about the Chaos Emeralds? You think he doesn't know about Sonic and Shadow's adventures? You would have to make so many assumptions to try to disapprove this that, like, it just needs, like, how do I say it? It might as well not even be brought up. Like, I'm gonna be honest. It might as well not even be brought up. Because you would need so much proof against it. It's ridiculous. They are the voice. There's a thing called the voice of the author in a story. Like, this requires basic reading comprehension, basic media literacy. Like, I need you guys to understand that. Like, this is easy stuff. Okay, let's oh my god.
Hey, you! You know you can hear me. You're captain of Squad Jackal, aren't you? Your squad was useless. Go clean up their mess already!
Yeah, I got it. You destroyed my squad. I'll show you why they call me the ultimate mercenary. Take this! What?
Worthless. Don't show your pathetic face around me ever again.
I'm shaking. Me. Afraid. Pathetic. Me. He's calling me weak. No, I'm not weak. I'm not. I'm not weak. I am not weak. That day, I gave up my own unsightly face. I let go of the old me, the one that was so weak, so that I could become stronger. And then, at last, I obtained the power to make all yield to my will. I was reborn! I've only become what I am because of you, yet you don't remember. But I suppose that's the way it goes. It simply means that the old me was too weak, too pathetic to remember. And now you've become nothing more than an insect, waiting to be crushed underfoot. Thanks to this limitless power I've obtained, I have become unstoppable. Take this!
Where? I'm back here. No. Is this an illusion?
This is reality, Shadow. Your reality. I didn't expect to see you come back alive, but you must admit, it was a truly wonderful show, wasn't it? This power, before we've even tuned it, just as I thought. It is unrivaled. Not even Sonic will be able to stand against me now.
Sonic? What are you plotting? What is this? Stop! Where do you think you're going, Infinite?
Shadow? Shadow! Finally, the connection's back. What are you doing?
Rouge?
Forget it. Get away from there as soon as you can. There are explosions going off all over. The facility's about to collapse.
Withdrawing now. What's the meaning of all this?
Okay. So, now, where it's getting there. It's getting there. However, it's not too clear yet. So, Infinite is being the voice of the author again. He is saying that the Phantom Ruby, its power, was unrivaled even before they tuned it. So, at this point, he's using the power of the Ruby that Eggman put the data into. So, this is his baseline. The Phantom Ruby in Sonic Mania was able to combat the Chaos Emerald's power. With the Phantom King, it's able to harm Supersonic. And this is before Sonic Forces, where the power creep has run its course. So, I think what the writers were trying to do is they were making Infinite say these things to make it clear that he is the next biggest threat. Well, obviously until the Mega Death Egg robot, but you get the point. Now we just need to go into...
They'll be able to stand against me now. Not even...
There too. So I don't think it's a big enough deal for you.
Wait.
Outed.
Hold on.
Rouge, are you telling me the truth?
What's the point of lying about it? Eggman got a beat on Sonic and mounted a massive assault. I mean, sure, A for effort, but it's nothing to worry about. We've got the advantage now. Sonic is there too, so I don't think it's a big enough deal for you to head out.
Not even Sonic will be able to stand against me now.
I can't imagine the Doctor would do something like that without...
Shadow! This is not good. Hurry! Get over there!
What is it, Rouge? What happened?
Okay, I also wanted to call this out because Infinite wasn't even focused on Shadow anymore. He humiliated him. And he was about to be destroyed by Infinite's attacks that was about to bust the facilities. He viewed Sonic as more of a threat than Shadow. Heck, Rouge even said that because Sonic was in the picture, they didn't really have anything to worry about. Like, that's a major hit to the agenda that Shadow's supposed to be Sonic's equal. And you can't even say that that Rouge doesn't know enough about Shadow. She has seen Shadow remove the inhibitor rings. And it's shown that the characters do remember Sonic 06 to some extent. So, keep that in mind.
Is everyone okay?
We are, thanks to you. Cutting it kind of close, though, pal.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I roll. Okay, let's finish this, Eggman.
It will be your finish, Sonic. Behold the power of my ultimate masterpiece.
Okay, I'm now it's becoming very clear. Infinite is called. Let me start again. Now it's becoming very clear. Infinite is called Eggman's ultimate masterpiece. He's called Eggman's ultimate masterpiece. That's another voice of the author right there. And they're gonna prove it by having Infinite beat a Sonic that's stronger than the Shadow that beat Metal Overlord, who took on 3 super forms. Watch.
Huh? Shadow, it's you? Zavok! Metal! Chaos!
Whoa, this guy is faster than Sonic! No, wait, it's something else. Gotta scan him and figure this out.
What are you? How are you doing? Oh!
Nice.
Tails? I need to know what's going on with this guy.
I'm trying, Sonic, but these readings are all messed up. They don't make any sense.
And it's telling that Tails can't even get a reading on Infinite's power level. Pretty clear.
Running out of time here, Tails!
Sonic!
Eggman's army is unstoppable. Without Sonic, the people are losing hope and giving into despair.
And guess what? I want to call this out too. Sonic is that ray of hope. You was taken out, everybody started going crazy. But they know of Shadow, so why don't they care about Shadow? Heck, in universe, Shadow looks just like Sonic. It's because Shadow isn't as major as Sonic. He's not as powerful. That's just the way it is. Let's move.
I knew it!
He's captured in the orbiting prison.
Oh my god.
Jail.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's gonna take some time, but hold on. Okay, it's gonna take some time, but we may find more things that I haven't really noticed before, so be patient with me, please.
I'm sorry I wasn't smart enough. Huh? Whoa! Chaos! Sonic, help me! Sonic? You're alive! Wait, what? Oh! You're that Sonic from another dimension, aren't you? Right, that makes sense, I think. Do you know how you got here? Maybe the power that Eggman is using is somehow affecting other dimensions.
Okay, so, and this is something that people overlook. Tails is making it clear that, and he's the voice of the author here, that the Phantom Ruby that Eggman is using, and the one that Classic Sonic encountered in Sonic Mania, they were so powerful that they caused a chain reaction that started affecting other dimensions. That just shows how powerful Infinite is in this story. But not a lot of people seem to have picked that up. Anyway, it's clear now.
Which might work to our advantage. I mean, everything happens for a reason, right? We need to save the world, and maybe that's why you're here, to help save the world. Either way, it's still good to see you, Sonic. Heck, it's good to see any Sonic.
There is no reason to resist. Simply is no.
Oh my god.
Oosh, it's about time. How's Sonic doing?
He's been better. They're getting ready to banish him into space.
What? You can't be serious!
Eggman's been keeping Sonic alive all this time. He's been waiting to show him his completed empire before banishing him.
Torturing Sonic just to pass the time. Oh, that's low, even for Eggman.
Eggman got wind of our rescue plan and is moving forward with his plan ahead of schedule. The clock is ticking, boss. But we don't even know.
Oh my god.
Now, this is the end, Sonic.
Oh, hey!
Oh, okay, I just wanted to comment on something because Death Battle Tards or Sonic downplayers want to downplay Infinite, or Solaris Tards might downplay Infinite, but this point in the game debunks a common misconception. So basically, people believe that the clones aren't powerful and that they can just be one-shotted by the characters. This is not true. In the game, there's a drawn-out fight between Sonic and quote-unquote Zavok. You'll see what I mean.
Sounds like the party started. Here.
Come on.
Lose to the likes of you again!
That was a blast! Bring some chili dogs next time. It's that sound again. Whoa, it's not time for thinking, it's time for running!
Yeah. That was definitely more than one hit. I skipped most of the battle, but you get the point. They're not just feathers that can just be blown away with a single blow. Like, no. Like, you would have to be massively stronger than them in order to do that. Like, yes, there's rare occasions like the clone that Shadow took out, which was off guard, and Chaos, which Classic Sonic took down, which was also off guard. But that is not what normally happens. These guys are all powerful, and there's even a cutscene talking about it. Oh my god.
Our intel or effort.
Factories.
We're destroyed.
Like a leap the whole time.
It's nice and warm.
Rookie?
Dying to spend.
Come on.
But you're here now. It's like the world needs a Sonic. Any Sonic to keep things in balance. If we defeat Eggman, this war will be over. And if we can figure out the secret to his power, maybe we can get you home. Hey, the sensor is picking up Eggman. Let's hurry.
And with that, the disposal of the Phantom Ruby prototypes is complete.
It was a defective model. It could only record the DNA of the one that triggered it.
Only a being with my strength of will could ever activate it.
It doesn't matter now with the lab locked down in Mystic Jungle. Which reminds me, didn't you run into Sonic there after he escaped?
Yes, but he was powerless against me. There is no need for concern.
You let the hedgehog live? That is a great source of concern.
For you, perhaps. He has beaten you for decades, yet I defeated him in our first encounter.
Phantom Ruby prototypes? And Sonic is alive?
What is it?
Nothing. We move forward with the plan.
Of course! When it's complete, the resistance will be erased. The world will be nothing but ashes, from which a glorious Eggman Empire will rise.
And the resistance will yield to the Phantom Ruby's power. All will submit.
What? You! I don't have time for this.
It's been generations since I seen you. You okay?
Good news.
Happened in that time.
I don't like the sound of that.
Eating, but we're under attack. Shadow is tearing.
Saw him. He was fighting for Eggman.
It doesn't make sense. Why?
That strange. Another.
Chaos control!
Another Shadow? He just disappeared.
That was a fake.
A fake? How?
Infinite can create.
Okay. We'll see this. So you see this. Infinite can create virtual reality projections. They have mass and form, but no heart and soul. They have mass and form. Infinite can create virtual reality projections. This is important. for what comes next.
Create virtual reality projections. They have mass and form, but no heart and soul.
Virtual reality? So all those familiar faces that were part of Eggman's army...
Replicas. The problem is...
Replicas. The problem is, they may not be real, but their powers are as formidable as the originals. They may not be real, but their powers are as formidable as the originals. Remember that. So, even the Infinite that appeared in Sonic Speed Simulator was either slightly less than the original Infinite from Sonic Forces, or it was equal to the Infinite from Sonic Forces, or there's a chance it could have been stronger than that Infinite. Let me say this again in case I messed up the first time. They may not be real, but their powers are as formidable as the originals. So even the Infinite from Sonic Speed Simulator, that was a clone, but that clone may have been less than the Infinite from Sonic Forces, equal to the Infinite from Sonic Forces, or a little stronger than the one from Sonic Forces. Pretty clear. Pretty clear. This Shadow is now the voice of the author here. They are saying here that Infinite can create clones of the data he attains, because it's made clear from the first few cutscenes of Sonic Forces that the virtual reality projections, the replicas, they're a result of data that Eggman and Infinite collected. And this is important because Death Battle didn't account for this. They didn't have Infinite or Eggman create a clone of Eggman's army. Even if they were stronger, they're not stronger, but I was operating under that assumption just for devil's advocate.
They may not be real, but their powers are as formidable as the originals. According to Rouge, Infinite can create unlimited numbers of them.
Oh my god. Oh my god. And Sonic says what I was thinking as well.
So fight after fight, he can just keep cranking out counterfeits?
Okay. So, let's make it clear. Infinite can keep creating these guys. And you're telling me that Bowser's army could beat Infinite? You serious? You serious? This is cracked. Not only can Infinite just clone Bowser's army, but he could also keep cranking out different Shadows, different Zavox, different Chaoses, different Metal Sonics, and there'd be no way to stop him. No way. And I want you to pay attention to this. Shadow says exactly, as it stands, there's no way we can win this. And this means something, because it means that as of Sonic Forces, with the Chaos Emeralds, a hypothetical Super Shadow would not have been able to beat Infinite in this game. So if you're wondering why Shadow didn't just collect the Chaos Emeralds, it wouldn't have done anything. Pretty clear.
Exactly. As it stands, there's no way we can win this.
Of course we can win this. We always do. We just haven't figured that part out yet.
listen up. We just got word that Eggman's forces are under...
As part of Eggman's plan, this could be our only chance to take the city.
Oh my god. Come on.
Plant. If we can check that out, we might find something there.
That sounds like a promising lead. We have to figure out the secret behind Infinite's power and virtual reality. Tails, can you handle this?
Got it. I'll take Sonic, I mean the other Sonic with me and... found it! Virtual reality weapon. The Phantom Ruby. A weapon that takes control of people's visual and depth perception to feed false information to the brain, creating a new reality for them. Like a dream so real if you bump yourself in it, your sleeping self will bruise? It's hard to believe. Eggman experimented with lots of prototypes, and then incorporated the final version into Infinite. If I'm reading this data correctly, then there might be a weakness. This is huge! Let's get this information back to the others.
So, there was this debate at some point, I think it was years ago, may have been months ago or something. Basically, people were saying that Infinite just had the prototype of the Phantom Ruby. No, he had the real thing. He had the real thing. He had the real thing. The real thing's power was inputted into the version that Infinite had. It was a copy, but it was a completed copy. It could use Infinite as a host, but you need to have a strong willpower to use it. So no, Bowser's army can't just use it. They need to have a similar showing that Infinite, Sonic, Shadow, Eggman, etc. have. It's not that simple.
Eggman's Phantom Ruby.
Great work, Tails!
Based on these readings, the Phantom Ruby requires an incredible amount of energy, which only the Death Egg can provide. We simply stop the energy transfer, and boom! The Phantom Ruby is practically useless.
Simply? Last I checked, the Death Egg is a heavily fortified, well, Death Egg.
True, but I came up with a plan. First, we distract Eggman. While he's not paying attention, we use the chemical plant computer to hack into the Death Egg's weapon systems and shut it down. With no weapons, destroying the Death Egg will be a piece of cake. No Death Egg means the Phantom Ruby is nearly useless.
Well, you know, it's just crazy enough to work. So, first we need a distraction. I'm on it.
No way, Knuckles. You're too easily distracted. That's not a good trait for a distraction. Plus, you're our commander. We kinda need you here.
How about the rookie? Eggman would never expect it. It may even throw him off a little.
Good idea. You got your orders, rookie. We only have one more day before Eggman's plan is executed. So let's hustle.
So, while this kind of implies that the Phantom Ruby's energy at some level can run out or something, or is vulnerable in some way, they're still making it clear that it requires an incredible amount of energy. They made that very clear. So, it's not like it's fodder, right? They're making it clear that it's very powerful. Anyway, let's move on. Hold on.
Keep doing with the distraction.
Oh, so far so good. We might have to stop using the nickname Rookie if the kid keeps this up.
Next, we've got to get to the computers at the chemical plant and shut down the Death Egg's weapon system.
Perfect! I've been waiting for my turn to bust some heads.
Okay.
Five more hours before the plan is executed. Infinite, let's make a tactical retreat so that we can remobilize our forces.
And by tactical retreat, you mean to say flee with our tails between our legs. I'm quite displeased about this, Doctor.
Shut up and just follow me! What? Wait!
Mission accomplished. The Phantom Ruby signal has gotten much weaker.
This should effectively put a stop to the Doctor's greatest weapon.
What was that? What was that?
This should effectively put a stop to the Doctor's greatest weapon.
Hit for one.
This should effectively put a stop to the Doctor's greatest weapon. This should effectively put a stop to the Doctor's greatest weapon.
Hit for the third time.
Put a stop to the Doctor's greatest weapon.
Hit for the fourth time.
This should effectively put a stop to the Doctor's greatest weapon.
Oh! So you have even characters that know about the character. You have characters that know about the Chaos Emeralds, the Master Emerald, and etc., saying that the Phantom Ruby that Infinite has is Eggman's greatest weapon. See that? See that? Like, Ataro Toyota, Ken Pontac, and Warren Graff could not make this more obvious without having Infinite fight a super form. They could not make this any more obvious. It's pretty clear what's going on. There is a narrative being pushed, and it's pretty obvious. Anyway, let's keep going.
Welcome, Sonic. Glad you could make it to your funeral. Infinite, do it!
Take this. What is that?
Har! That, my spiky little trinity, is null space.
Null space?
It's a little something that the Phantom Ruby cooked up. A closed-off space where absolutely nothing exists. Goodbye, Sonic, my soon-to-be eradicated nemesis. Enjoy all the nothing.
Buddy, don't! You'll be sucked in too!
But we destroyed the Phantom Ruby's power source!
Tisk tisk! Since you always destroy the power source of my weapons, I decided to learn from my mistakes. I had a backup power source created under Metropolis.
Okay. So, you see that? You see that? You saw that? So, some people might claim that because they destroyed the Death Egg's power systems and controllers, that the Phantom Ruby was nerfed. Therefore, Sonic and Co. don't scale. This makes it very clear that no, he created a backup power source. So the Phantom Ruby is still as powerful as it was before. It wasn't phased at all.
Boss?
It can't be! It's impossible to get under the Phantom Ruby's null space!
Now, maybe by myself, but I had a little help from my friend. Something you wouldn't understand since you don't have any friends.
This changes nothing. Dr. Eggman will still have the last laugh.
Okay. Now, I do want to make this clear because this feat that Infinite did in creating the null space, it just goes to show how much power the Phantom Ruby had. So, that's Sonic Forces. Okay. Because it's blatantly stated in the encyclopedia that it's an infinite space. Okay. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Ah! Here! Here! Ah, come on. Ah, come on. Yeah. Oh, for the love of... Hold on, I'm just gonna try one more time. Okay. Okay, never mind. Okay, so it says null space. Break through the endless void with the real superpower of teamwork. It's an endless void. It's endless. It's infinite. Infinite created infinite space or dimension or world or whatever with the Phantom Ruby he had. So you can't even say that his power doesn't have a high scope because it's portrayed in the story that he does. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Maybe he'd have more friends if he didn't talk about himself in the third person.
We've got less than an hour
Into the fortress now.
Back into the world!
Sonic! I mean this Sonic, won't we?
Yes, if the Phantom Ruby is gone, I guess he'll be returned to his dimension.
Thank you for everything, Sonic. I'll never forget what you did for us.
Save the sentiments for later. This is not over yet. We still have a battle to fight.
Exactly. This is our last chance. Give it everything you've got. Let's go! Go! Take this!
Long time no see. Did you miss me?
Why, yes, I did. I've been looking forward to finishing your annoying friends. I trust you're all ready for oblivion. If you're not, oh well. What? Who dares?
Target reconfirmed. Extermination mode initiated. Payback inevitable.
Omega, you've joined us? Awesome.
Is there no end to these annoying insects? I will burn your resistance to ashes, and you along with it.
Whoa, you gotta be kidding. That's just a special effect, right?
No, it's not. While we're under the Phantom Ruby's control, it's a part of our reality.
Unbelievable. What chance do we have against that?
The sun will fall upon you all. Boom. The end. Your pathetic lives are over.
Look, it's reacting. Eggman said something about the Phantom Ruby prototypes. Let me see. Whoa, it is! He said the Phantom Ruby prototypes only react to the person who activated it. That must be you, buddy! Your courage and heroism are probably what triggered it. Just maybe, if you use this, it can make that sun disappear.
Sun rays falling in the sky beyond.
Lives are now over.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Buddy?
The sun! It's gone!
What? What just happened? Impossible! I thought all the prototypes were destroyed!
A costly oversight, Doctor. This is why I always check and double check, as any good scientist would.
This is the turning point, guys. Time to press our advantage and kick major butt!
Even with the Phantom Ruby, we...
Okay. We're approaching the end of this. Anyway, they make it clear that the Phantom Ruby is weakened. This will be important for later.
Dirty little hedgehog. Even with the Phantom Ruby weakened, I still have enough power to smash you into blue jelly. I'll show you how outclassed you really are.
I'm in a class all my own. Time to put up or shut up, Infinite.
The Phantom Ruby's energy is recharged. Perish along with your useless friends.
Heard that? Heard that? So I don't want to hear anybody saying that, oh, Sonic doesn't scale to it, bro. Because he does. The Phantom Ruby's power was recharged. They made that very clear. Like, blatantly clear. Anyway. Anyway. Infinite loses.
Impossible.
I cannot be defeated.
Wrong, loser. The things that can't be defeated are heart, soul, and the bonds of friendship. Three things you and your counterfeit cronies lack.
No, wait. I can still fight.
Huh?
You never fail to surprise me, Sonic. I didn't believe Infinite could lose.
Heard that? Eggman didn't believe that there was a way Infinite could lose. He had really placed Infinite above every other creation he had made it to that point. Well, specifically the ones that he made to fight Sonic, but you get the point.
Victory will be so much sweeter when I defeat you. Don't think this is over yet, you blue nuisance! My plan just went into overtime!
We did it! Eggman's army is officially butt-kicked! We won! Come on, now what? Can we ever just win and have that be the end of it?
Look!
Gotcha! The fortress reactor was just a decoy! A true winner always keeps his trump card hidden until the end.
Sonic, what's going on? There aren't less enemies, there's more!
What? How can there be so many?
Confirmed sightings indicate Shadow, Metal Sonic, Zavok, Chaos, Infinite. Thousands of them.
What have you done?
I merely incorporated the Phantom Ruby into this Death Egg robot.
But that means the Phantom Ruby no longer has a vulnerable energy supply. It's an invulnerable ruby?
A good deduction, Tails. This Death Egg robot has... No! I have surpassed Infinite to become the complete and ultimate form!
So, I don't think a lot of people pick this up when, like, playing the game or watching the cutscenes, but basically he's saying that up until now, Infinite was the complete and ultimate form, like the ultimate power. That's what Eggman is saying. That's what he's saying. And that he has become the best by surpassing Infinite. This was pretty obvious, but people don't pick up on it. So I just wanted to make it clear. There you go.
You will be crushed by this.
Oh, and he could seemingly make more clones than Infinite can at a time. So there you have it. Which was already a lot. Like, you literally see in the cutscenes that he has entire armies.
Robot powered by the Phantom Ruby, and in the end, everything will still be just as I planned!
Your plan will end like all your plans do, with you sitting in a pile of busted robot parts wondering how you failed so badly! Let's get him.
Hey, why am I watching this? No, we already covered this. Anywho, we're done here. I wanted to show you guys this because the Infinite down players, the Sonic down players, the Solaris tards, all of them, they'll swear out that there's no hints that Infinite is this super form level threat in the games, when the game does its best to show you that he is without having him fight a super form. He stopped Gap Solaris. Pretty simple to understand. Anyway, we're done. And there's also the Etaro Toyota statement that I asked to him on Twitter/X or whatever you want to call it now. There's that. See? You have all of this, and for some reason, the Sonic Down players, the Mario tards, the Death Battle tards, the Death Battle meat gobblers, the Death Battle meat writers, all of them, etc., et al., they think that this isn't enough to make it clear that Infinite is a super form level character. In fact, let's show Sonic Speed Simulator. I know this may or may not have come after the Death Battle, but it's just so hilarious that they had a clone of Infinite, Stalemate, Super Shadow in Sonic Speed Simulator. And it's canon. It's canon. Let me show this. But trust me, Infinite isn't super form level. Trust me, I'm definitely not being held at gunpoint by the Solaris Tards. Trust me, I'm not being held at gunpoint by the Solaris Tards, the Sonic Down players, the Mario Tards, and all of them. No. No, it's a completely 100% yeah, no. Sega basically did what they could here. They allowed a scenario in which a clone of Infinite faces a super form. And he's not like one-shotted. Like, even if you say you didn't stalemate him, that's semantics. You know what I was getting at. He showed super form levels of power.
I can point to the time Death Battle did something similar to describe Spyro's ether breath, but that was the case of a staff member going out of their way to explain something that apparently goes largely unexplained and even unnamed in the actual games, which seems odd. I don't really know anything about Spyro, but this is just Sega hyping up the new villain of their new game. You think they had Solaris in mind when they wrote this? I mean, given the state of the franchise, they probably just really wanted Forces to succeed. This is propaganda. I mean, imagine if this said Infinite, who is objectively Sonic's most powerful foe in every conceivable way. Yes, including Solaris. Everything Infinite does is objectively more powerful than anything Solaris could ever hope to do. I mean, I hope we can at least agree that that would be pretty desperate and lame.
Oh my. I love this. I love this. I love this quote. When they say that, oh, you think they had this character in mind when they made this, bro? Rather than going ahead to prove there was no power creep, no power increase, that the character they're saying doesn't get that sweet scale, absolutely doesn't get that scale. They create this ridiculous argument that, how do you know that they had this character in mind when they made this? Like, do you think that Sega is just this Akira Toriyama memory level department? Like, you think they have the memory of Akira Toriyama? Like, the website even talks about powerful new villains. You think there was no sense of power scaling when writing Infinite's claim of being the most powerful villain? Or most powerful enemy? You get the point. Why can't you just actually get something from the story that actually straight up removes any semblance of possibility that Infinite is a super form level character? I'll tell you why. You can't do it. You can't do it. There's too much support. Like, the only thing you guys have is that brain dead claim. Sonic beat him in base, bro. Like that base Sonic isn't stronger than Sonic 06 Supersonic. Be real. Be real. This is basic shit to understand. But somehow you guys don't get it. You guys don't get it. That's the most ridiculous part here. Like, I always keep asking these people if they have the reading comprehension level to understand these things. They keep telling me yes. But then you have things like, and this is off topic but related, you have the Buhan fans claiming that Buhan beats Kid Buu, and these same people come to the conclusion that Perpetua is a fake and that she was created by Darkseid, that the entire DC cosmology as of Rebirth was made by Darkseid. And you know who I'm referring to when I'm saying this. You know who I'm referring to. These people, they have some distorted version of what really happens in the story, or what the story's saying. I'm not sure if it's low IQ, low intelligence, but this is a problem that needs to be addressed. It's serious.
That in mind makes this whole thing feel like cheating, and instead we get this statement that's just vague enough to not come across as Sega trying too hard. But that raises another issue, because when you get right down to it, most powerful is pretty vague. Refer to my first major point on power scaling. Even if Infinite can't consume timelines and dimensions, he could be more powerful just in terms of his combat prowess. Just to be cheeky, technically, albeit inconsistently, Sonic 06 never happened, and Sonic never actually faced Solaris, so one could technically argue that Sonic's most powerful foe yet just doesn't include Solaris.
Brain dead, yes, that's me! No. This is not just in continuity, it's also over continuity, authority continuity. The authorities, the company, they said that Infinite is Sonic's most powerful enemy yet. This is the same company that, oh my god, that acknowledges Sonic 06's placement in the timeline. It's still in the timeline. There's literally what was it? There was literally a Sonic Channel timeline where Sonic 06 is still in there. The company still recognizes Sonic 06. So do the writers. They remember that. Let me get that timeline. Hold on. Here you go, Brody. Here you go. Here you go. See this? See this? Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. See this? See this? This is literally on the website. It would be on you to prove that Sonic 06 and its influences weren't factored into Sonic Forces, or that statement that Sega made. You prove that. No one has to prove that but you. Done. My god. Yo.
But again, that's just being cheeky. Although, if we want to talk vague, you haven't seen anything yet. This is another image I've seen quite a few times. It contains descriptions from Sonic 06 about Eggman and several of the mechs he uses in that game. Let's read these statements carefully, shall we? Mechs even more monstrous than before. One of Dr. Eggman's most terrible creations. His most terrifying creation. Do you see the problem here? These words, these particular descriptive words, they don't mean anything.
They don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. This is statements like the power progression you would see in shonen. In shonen manga. These are the type of statements you would see in shonen manga. Bet that if a similar statement was made in Dragon Ball, you would probably gobble that shit up. It is so obvious that this means that Eggman's robots are more powerful than before. What else would more monstrous than before mean? What else would more terrifying than before mean? What would one of the most terrifying creations mean? What else would that mean in this context? This is that dishonest bullshit. That's what that is. Anything to prevent Sonic from getting over. That's what it is. Period.
Not in terms of power scaling anyway. There are a quattuordecillion different reasons one might call something more monstrous, more terrible, or more terrifying than something else.
Like what? What thing do they have now they didn't have before? What thing power-wise do they have that they don't have before? What else could they be referring to? You say there's these bunch of reasons. You don't name any of them. You don't name any of them. This is just blatant denial. It's so obvious what they were going for. They want to be disingenuous with this. Just make yourself look stupid.
These statements are entirely subjective and are in no way indicative of measurable power.
How? How? No, seriously, how? I see a lot of these claims, like you can't seem to back them up. Interesting. Like, what's your reading comprehension level? How high do you place your media literacy skills on the ladder? Cause this isn't good. This really isn't good. The answer should be so obvious, yet you don't get it. This is some Versus Battle Wiki staff type dishonesty. Really, it is. And what gets me off my rocker more is that he's one of those people that said, oh, it's entirely subjective, bro. What is subjective about that statement? I'd like to know.
Similar are these statements on the Egg Dragoon from Sonic Unleashed, calling it Dr. Eggman's fiercest flying mecha, and saying it represents the absolute pinnacle of mad science. How are these statements on measurable power?
Son, I don't think a neutron star could be as dense as you are being right now. You want to know how Eggman measures his mechs? Whether they're able to beat Sonic or not. So, when the game or Sega states that it's the pinnacle of absolute mad science, they're talking about its fighting capabilities and it being able to fight Sonic. So, we know that when Eggman fights Sonic with his mechs, he's brute forcing it or giving it stats, energy sources, and things like that. So, when he says that the Egg Dragoon is the pinnacle of mad science, they're clearly talking about its power. I don't know how you didn't pick this up. It was so obvious. It was so obvious. You could literally just look into the context and it would be clear. Like, even the people who disagree with this would have been able to pick up where we were going with this. But somehow, you couldn't. And I'm very concerned about that. I really am. This should have been easily findable. But it's not. At least not to you.
How? When it comes to statements by characters in-game, the immediate question is, should we believe them? These are fleshed out characters, so when Sega makes them talk, they're gonna try and make them sound like how actual people would talk, to varying degrees of success. And people, lie, and even when they don't lie, they embellish. They make things sound more extreme and concrete than they actually are. So when Sonic says, I get more powerful every second, I'm not inclined to believe he literally gets, say, X% stronger every second of him just existing.
There are steps and layers to this. You don't just assume a character is lying. It has to be implied or shown by the story or the author, the writer, or the company. If there's no proof they're lying, where are you getting this shit from? Where are you getting this shit from? It's headcanon. Point blank. And if Sonic characters don't get stronger every second, how else would you explain Sonic going from below perfect chaos in base to being above Sonic Heroes Metal Overlord in base? How else would you explain that? How else would you explain that? Got something? Oh wait. Nothing? That's what I thought.
I'm just not. As for Eggman, he has a habit of calling whatever creation he's presenting his greatest or finest.
And when have the characters ever said they're not? Huh? Even in Sonic Forces, you have Shadow affirming the greatest weapon claim. That's not it, man. And Shadow doesn't like lying. I mean, he's not immune to lying, but that's like coupled with several other statements in the story. Come on now. Like, can't even argue that's inconsistent. It's consistently consistent.
Now, to be clear, I don't think Eggman is the type to straight up lie about the extent of his capabilities, even in front of his enemies, because, in general, he has the power to back up whatever outlandish threats he makes. But I think there's a difference between that and just being a big ham, which Eggman absolutely is. So when Eggman says something specific, like that his machine can control the flow of time, then yeah, I'll buy it. Certainly no less than I buy the Wonder Flower being able to alter the universe, or the Ice Flower being able to freeze stars.
Here, you have officially lost my ass. So, let me get this straight. So, you won't trust statements from a guy who consistently backs up his statements, but you will believe, or at least hold those power progression statements that Eggman makes on his creations that could explicitly change the flow of time and stuff to myths about the fire flower being able to melt glaciers and the ice flower being able to freeze stars? Like, that is a big fucking sneak. That is a sneak. You snuck that in there. When Eggman says something, like, it is highly likely you should take it seriously. Or when Sega says something about Eggman's creation, you should most likely take it seriously. Do you know that the ice flower's effects can be countered by the fire flower's effects? Do you know why that's a problem? Because a glacier doesn't hold a candle to even the sun. It just doesn't. It shouldn't need to be said, but it doesn't. Another problem is, and this is pretty obvious, but Mario and Luigi have never displayed the ice flower and the fire flower's capabilities to be on that scale. They never used it to that extent. So what makes you think it's being used against Bowser? Why would we assume it's being used against Bowser? Why would we assume that Bowser and his army could use it like that? Where's the proof they could? You'll meat ride that. You see, you'll meat ride that. You'll ride that. But when there's stronger cases for Sonic, you don't buy it? That's hypocrisy. Why ain't worse than liars is hypocrites? Seriously.
But I don't think it's remotely out of character for Eggman to just pull out some random creation and baselessly declare it his greatest, finest, or even most powerful.
Then why are you blatantly denying these statements of power progression that Eggman and his robots have? Doesn't even make any sense. That's a contradiction. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Another thing you may often hear is that Infinite is 1 trillion times more powerful than anything Eggman had ever created up to that point. Per a line from Eggman in the original Japanese version of Sonic Forces, with the English version changing trillion to thousand. The line in question reads, "This ultimate weapon will pay back all history of defeats and memories of humiliation to you by 1 trillionfold." What? Okay, I cannot be the only one who thinks this is a massive leap in logic, right? Right? I genuinely feel like I'm being gaslit whenever this is brought up. Has my understanding of how words work been completely off this whole time?
Yes, as a matter of fact, yes it has.
I mean, what? Okay, so if you just fundamentally disagree with my takes on interpreting statements, then I doubt we're gonna get anywhere meaningful. Of course, I'm not the first person to call out this sort of thing, so I doubt I'll be changing any minds. I suppose what I can definitively say is, if this is really how the game of power scaling is supposed to be played, then this game sucks and I quit. Like, there's no analysis going on here. Whichever character is stronger just comes down to whoever's company is louder. Like, what's even the point? Doesn't anyone value show don't tell anymore? Now, without further ado, let's move on to the responses.
Okay, that'll be all from me right now. This will be extended to 6 hours or 8 hours if I continue. Anyway, you got, like, the gist. This guy's arguments is not up to par. At this point, the video would just be me saying the same thing again and again and again, because he's going to repeat the same thing again and again and again. And I don't think you guys would want to watch that. The problem with this last one, that the last comment he did, is that he claims that the very explicit and blatant statement is a massive leap in logic. But he doesn't explain. It's like he has no counter for it. There you have Eggman saying that his ultimate weapon, aka the Phantom Ruby that Infinite has, is able to return all the memories and data of defeats by Sonic a trillionfold, and that's not enough? That's not enough? That's as blatant as it could get. And it's the Japanese material saying it, of all things. This is the original material. This is the material that Sega pays the most attention to. So there's no excuse. And even if it's not the original material, because some Sonic games are like that now, that doesn't matter. Sega pays the most attention to the Japanese content. They are a Japanese company. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and that'll be the end of it. I might do a continuation later. Stay tuned. Peace.